Good evening, or good afternoon, I should say, everyone. Welcome to the Sacramento City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Councilmember Ashby. Here. Councilmember Harris. Here. Councilmember Hanson. Here. Councilmember Carr. Here. Vice Mayor Jennings. Here. Councilmember Guerra. Here. Councilmember Chenier. Here. And Mayor Steinberg.
I am here. Thank you very much. I would like to ask Hi and Jude Oakenfuss to please come forward with their father, Dan, and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And Mr. Mayor, can I, for the record, Councilmember Warren will be absent this evening.
Councilmember Warren is absent. Okay.
They have a microphone for it?
Right there. They got a mic. Nell has a microphone right there for you, Dan.
You can speak in here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What liberty and justice?
Yeah. I'm going to remind everybody here that everyone who wants a chance to address the City Council will have that right. If, however, you choose to interrupt the members or interrupt the proceedings by shouting out, you will be asked to leave. I hope you respect the decorum of the chambers and the fact that we listen to everybody fairly and one at a time. Thank you. All right. We are going to, do we have any, we have no reports out from the closed session, correct? Okay, thank you, Matt. We are going to begin, before we get to the the public testimony for items not on the agenda, first of all, with a special presentation. And for this, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mayor. It's really an honor today to have two very famous athletes from Sacramento in the council chamber tonight, and their proud parents. We have Hi and Jude Oakenfuss and their parents. Hi and Jude are down front, and as you might notice, there's something very special about Hi and Jude, and it is, yes, that they brought home 10 silver and bronze medals from the... They brought home a combined 10 silver and bronze medals, which they're wearing from the World Dwarf Games, where they represented Team USA just this last August, I believe, in Guelph, Ontario. And they were just amazing athletes. And I'd just like to show a very short clip, and then we'll finish our presentation and give you a chance, Hi Jude, or your loving parents, to say something briefly.
I don't know if we're going to have sound.
Can you make that, do we not have sound?
I don't believe so.
Oh, we got to get through the ad. Oh.
You okay? Take our time.
Oh, there you go. We'll just show the opening of this clip. So ABC 10, no, we don't have sound, but you can see here, they did interview Hi as he was playing basketball here in town, right, Hi? Yep. They competed, as I said, in the World Dwarf Games, which is modeled after the Paralympics, held every 4 years, and it's exclusively for athletes in dwarfism. And they competed in, get this, usually Olympic athletes only do one event. They did badminton, basketball, floor hockey, soccer, table tennis, track and field, volleyball, bocce, against athletes from around the world. And very impressive. We'd like to thank you for your representation of Sacramento and making us so proud. And I know if Dan or you or the boys want to say something.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dan, a proud father of Hi and Jude. We're with you today is my wife Erica, and it was a tremendous honor. This is the first international competition the boys have entered in, and I must say they performed pretty well. And we were so glad to have this opportunity to represent, United States and, of course, Sacramento with their athletic achievements.
Thank you, guys.
Would the medal winners like to say a word or two?
It was pretty fun to know a lot of people from all around the world, and to play against them. It was really hard to play against them because it's like you made new friends, then you didn't want to beat them. So it's really it was really hard to beat. It was really hard to not beat them too much. Or them beating you too much. So it was pretty good. I would say it was a pretty good game. We didn't lose or win that much.
Yes. We'd love to do a photo. We'd love to do a photo with you. I'm going to come down. I don't know if anybody else wants to.
Come on, we
join
should
me,
all
but-
come down. Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you, Steve. Come on.
Erica, come on.
Get one on Knoxville first. We're all ready? All right.
He's jumped on many years. It's above me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, I'm going to do that. Okay, that is our special presentations. How many, so let me ask you this. How many witnesses do on items not on the agenda? Okay, I'm going to make a quick executive decision because I know that there are a lot of our hardworking public servants in the audience here too, and members of the public. We have a very short agenda before we get to the public comment on items not on the agenda. And generally, we take it first, and we're going to continue to do that. But I just think in this instance, without objection, I'd like to get through what I think should be a very short portion of the agenda. Is there a lot of public testimony on? Just two on the other items on the agenda, if that's okay? Let us do that then. On the consent calendar, are there any questions members want to ask that any items be removed? If not, we have one member of the public who wants to testify on the consent calendar.
I have Mac Elworthy would like to speak on the consent calendar.
Mr. Worthy,
And then on the consent calendar, he doesn't state, and may I make an announcement for the record? On item number 18, vacation of the public road and highway easement at Strawberry Field, the recommendation is to continue that item to October 17th of 2017.
okay. Good. Okay. Mr. Worthy,
This
2
here
minutes.
was to establish a city hall tech. Now, this is only your mayor to tell the people later he created jobs. That's all it's about. A cost to the taxpayers. It's all about. Now, you got the contract for janitors. People, that's pitiful. I was in the business of janitorial service for 44 years here, and you got a firm that you're going to give $3 million to train a janitor. People, Mexicans, black folks, you cannot make no money working an 8-hour job. You cannot buy no house working an 8-hour job of janitorial service. There ain't nothing there, people. When you pay your union dues, everything is ate up. So just be careful. You can talk to me, and I'll show you, and I'll challenge whoever say that I'm wrong. Now, when we look at the city audit of what? If you don't audit the money, we don't care about theory and philosophy on the job. We are saying, where's the money going? This is all I have been asking. SMUD, the arena, sleep train, where is the audit of the money? You're lying, people. You can't keep lying about the money. You're going to have to tell somebody sooner or later how that money being used. You can't keep talking about $47 million grant. That stuff going to be sucked up here soon. Because you $47 million in the hole on your cap hurdle. So how can you keep using grants in order to get this city out of the red? Go on and file chapter 7, chapter 11, and work with the people how to put this city back on feet, because you're lying to them.
All right, is there a motion on the consent calendar? Moved and seconded by a myriad of members. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain.
Can I confirm that was a motion by Councilmember Ashby and a second by Vice Mayor Jennings?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's move to the public hearings. We have one public hearing. It is file item 17, given that 18 was continued. We need a motion on that, please.
Motion to continue item 18.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain. That passes 9-0. File item 17. Is there a staff member presenting on file item 17? We have one speaker on this as well. Okay. Here, briefly, if you would, please.
Yeah. Good evening, Honorable Mayor. My name is Thomas Adams from the Department of Public Works. The item I have for you this evening is the alley abandonment, which is known as Opera Alley between 7th and 8th Street, O and P Street. Currently, that alley sits adjacent to the uncovered open parking lot, then which the state of California owns the adjacent property, and which is adjacent to the Heilbrand Mansion within that block. The city put out a request to the applicant, which was the state of California, to detail any conditions or statements from the utility companies within that alleyway. And there are utilities within that alley. SMUD, PG&E, AT&T, Comcast, and even our utility department had conditioned to submit comments to our department in regards to their facilities. In which there really was no objection. However, there was a clause that SMUD wanted to work out with the state in regards to their facilities and to distinguish the payment for the cost of the relocation of their facilities. And I believe, as far as staff is concerned, we didn't have any objections to the abandonment. However, I believe there will be someone that would like to speak on this item from SMUD in regards to either having an agreement with the state in regards to the cost of the relocation of the facilities, or to rescind their approval for the abandonment. I can answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. We do have one member of the public. Councilmember Hanson, do you want to hear from the... Yeah. Okay, go ahead. One member of the public, please.
So our one speaker is Beth Titchener.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mayor Steinberg and members of the council. I'm Beth Tincher. I'm with SMUD's Regional and Local Government Affairs Group. We would like the opportunity to respectfully request that this item be continued to the next meeting to allow us, the city, and the developer to have an opportunity to agree on what should be included either in a staff report, resolution, or agreement with the developer. We had submitted a letter through the vacation clearance process, which indicated what our condition was for vacating facilities within that alley. That condition was not included in the staff report or the resolution. We also submitted a letter today to staff, asking them to read into the record that requirement, and it was relayed to us that language within the staff report or the resolution would not be changed, and we would not read the language into the record. If we can't continue the item to work out this opportunity, then it is our request that we rescind our offer to vacate the alley. Thank you, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, council members, Councilmember Hanson.
Beth, before you go, let me just ask our staff to respond to that, because that's new news. As far as I knew, this was non-controversial. Is this something that the council can add to it, or is there an objection from the state to the? I'm talking to Thomas.
Yeah, actually, we're going to entertain the language in the report, but the applicant objected to the particular language for the assertion of the cost element in that. So there was an objection from the applicant regards to that language being in a report.
And in this particular instance, given that it's a public entity, is it the policy, and maybe you could answer this, Beth, that SMUD doesn't absorb that cost, but it's really the applicant, in this case the state, even though it's public right of way? Or what's the?
It is that at any developer's request, they would pay for the relocation of our facilities. There is no other avenue, since there isn't a planning entitlement that the state is required to process, because they're a state agency that would have a condition of approval. So if it's not included in this language, then we don't have assurance that this developer is responsible for relocating the relocation costs of our facilities.
We've been working very productively with the state on many of the challenges with these great new projects. They're making a huge investment into the city with new offices. So I'm somewhat inclined to move forward, assuming that we can make an agreement with them to resolve your concern. So what I'd like to do, and Mr. Mayor, we've been working with DGS on this, on a variety of issues, as you know. I'd like to move to close the public hearing and approve the item, but with the understanding that I will personally help resolve the issue with SMUD and the state, so we have a beneficial project moving forward.
Was that all right? I mean, that was on good faith, and Steve is a man of his word. We move forward to.
I'm not sure legally what that means now, because our letter requests at our attorney's suggestion offers rescinding our approval of the vacation. So I'm not sure what the process is at this point, but we'd be more than happy to work with the city and the applicant to resolve it.
You just don't know legally whether or not approving the action tonight somehow jeopardizes or prejudices the ability to work it out with SMUD. Does anybody, city attorney?
Mr. Mayor, it's our interpretation of the resolution as presented to the council that the subsection 3B of the resolution already says that the utilities shall be relocated to the satisfaction of SMUD, and that should cover SMUD's concern, because if the relocation is not covered, the cost relocation is not covered by the state, then it wouldn't be to the satisfaction of SMUD. The resolution does not get recorded, and the quitclaim deed does not get recorded until that condition is satisfied.
You are protected. I mean, Councilmember Hanson's motion, I think, is in order, because you still have the ability to weigh in, and it's the city attorney said the final action is not taken unless you agree. So I think this is the right course.
Yeah, normally we'd like to have everybody sing Kumbaya, so this is a little bit of a surprise. I didn't even know about this until you came up to speak. So, but we've been working through a lot of issues with the state, and I will put this on my list.
Thank you.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I think partially it's the process to which we'll work with the city on as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Beth.
But thank you, Mr. Attorney, for.
Beth, who used to also work for the city and did a phenomenal job for us in economic development.
I'll second the motion.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain. That passes 9-0. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Very good. We now, again, file item 18 was continued. We now have one more item before we get to the public testimony for items not on the agenda, and that is file item 19, the 911 dispatch issue.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Staff is making a recommendation tonight to pass a motion certifying the critical need for temporary 911 dispatchers. Pass a resolution authorizing the police chief to enter into temporary employment agreements with Kimberly Lobb, an interim dispatcher 2, and Leah Louie, an interim dispatcher 1. Yes.
I don't think there is one. Mr. Worthy. Sorry, I didn't mean to call him up, but save you the time.
Is the chief in? Chief, this is what I was telling you about. The boat have capsized. The city want to run the police department. This should have been set up for he to come out and talk to the public on public input on this. You got a 24/7. You ain't saying one thing how much that gonna cost. That's 24/7. 911 is 24/7. But you said you want to jam this down the chief's throat when the chief got his hands full. You should have the brass that's around him, his captains and lieutenants, to take a look at this. Can we handle this properly and get the job done? The boat have capsized on the police department already in this city, and you're going to further do it by you want to dictate to them to how they're going to run. 911 is very tricky. You got the state police department involved in that 911. Are you going to have a separate 911 station other than what goes through the state police department? Tell the people the truth here, people. You can't keep lying and putting stuff on the chief and expect for him to make this thing turn over right.
Okay, we have two members who want to speak on this item. Councilmember Ashby.
Yes, Mayor, just want to say, I'm sorry that we got to a point where we were at a critical need and we couldn't get the hires in fast enough, but I know that we are remedying this as a group. We have all made this a top priority. Absolutely, there is a need there. We want it. This is incredibly important for the city of Sacramento, that when they pick up the phone and they call 911, that there isn't a long wait time, that they're able to get somebody as quickly as possible. Huge priority for us. Happy to move the item.
Moved, and we do have Councilmember Guerra, I'm sorry. Eric?
I was just going to second it, but Mr. Carr already seconded the motion. I also wanted to say that I know that our police chief has asked us to take some time and do some nights or evenings with the dispatcher so we kind of get a sense on how things are moving there, and I hope that, I know my office is looking at finding an evening to find a time out there, and it'd be good if all of us took some time to see the dispatch at work.
Very good, thank you. Good suggestion. Okay, the item has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? That passes 9-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
That actually concludes the items on the public agenda, and I know that we have a number of members of the public, as we always do, but there are a lot of folks from the North Sacramento District 2 area who are here tonight. And I want to make a few comments before the public testimony so that we can at least explain where we are, what we've done, and what our intentions are here. And first of all, and understanding, Mr. City Attorney, that we're not making any decisions here tonight, but I do think it is important to just set the context here. And the first thing I want to say to all of you is welcome to your City Hall. This is your place, and you are welcome here, and we look forward to hearing from you. I do want to clarify what the city has already approved, where we are headed, and where we intend to go. And where we intend to go, of course, all subject to the deliberation and decisions of the full city council. This problem of homelessness dominates much of our public discussion here at City Hall. And that's because the problem has grown increasingly worse. In fact, the last point in time count, which is the biennial survey required by the federal government, showed that homelessness in Sacramento County has increased by 85%. Now, many of the members of the public don't know this, but we already have 513 shelter beds located throughout the city of Sacramento, in other than District 2. 513 beds. Last winter, after I was sworn in as mayor, we were dealing with such a cold winter that we took the extraordinary step of adding to those beds by opening so-called warming shelters where people could sleep at night. The reason was that we have lost dozens of people who have died because of exposure to the cold. And while the warming centers were a good effort, it wasn't enough, and it isn't enough. I recognize that as a city, we are not a homeless service agency, but we face a choice here in our city. If we are not more aggressive about trying to solve this problem and continue doing what we're doing, which has been some things, but not enough, then the problem will undoubtedly get worse. On the other hand, if we choose to act more aggressively to provide more housing options for people, we're going to have the kind of discussions and debates throughout our community that we're having, that we begin here tonight. We do in the city have a very different approach than what we have traditionally done with just providing day services and/or emergency shelter. I'm sure you know that our city is the only city in the state that applied for and received the federal Medicaid grant called Whole Person Care. And in combination with the health care providers and health insurers, we have gathered $64 million with the ability to intervene intensively with 3,250 people. As your mayor, I have articulated a goal of getting 2,000 people off the streets over the next 3 years, and I've said if we don't succeed, I'm willing to hold myself accountable. We are working with our partners at the County of Sacramento to take the best of our resources, that $64 million, which will provide intensive outreach, case management, and a system of care with the county's mental health and substance abuse services, the housing authority's housing resources, and combine those to actually try to permanently get people off the street, not just accommodate homelessness with as much respect and dignity as we can, which has sort of been our current practice. In order to get people off the street into permanent housing with services, we need shelter, and again, not traditional shelter, but shelter tied to triage, assessment, and referral. In other words, we need to get people in so that we can assess their needs and then get them into more permanent housing to end that cycle of homelessness. We have, as you know, identified 2 sites, but it's important to point out one site at a time. One is the winter triage site off of Railroad Avenue on the other side of Del Paso Boulevard from the Wood Lake neighborhood. And then only after it closes, because that would be temporary, would we consider creating a 200-bed triage center, not just shelter, but triage center 24/7 with services at the Lumberjack site. And I know that many of you here tonight to express your opposition or concerns. And here's what, and Councilmember Warren is not here tonight, but I have talked to him. I have talked to him at great length. And here's what we are prepared in general, because this is not an action meeting on this subject tonight, but here in general is what we are prepared to assure not only North Sacramento, but any community where we site a triage shelter. Number one, we will fund extensive mitigation. And what do I mean by that? We will help fund increase the budgets for the P-bids and the other neighborhood organizations who provide maintenance, who provide cleanup. We will add significantly to our law enforcement resources, either through our police department or appropriately contracted, to provide all the security that is necessary to ensure that the triage sites are run in a way that is respectful to the neighborhood. We will provide transportation for people to and from any facility so that foot traffic is minimized. We will insist on the development of a binding good neighbor policy in collaboration with any surrounding community. And we will assure that there is a lead point person available to address concerns of the city and/or the surrounding community. We will ensure that the opening of any triage shelter is contingent on the city securing and funding a cleanup service and developing protocols for the use of that service to mitigate any negative impacts associated with any triage shelter. And maybe most importantly, we will assure any community that you will not be alone. You will not be the only site for a shelter triage center in our city. And I want to report to you, it's not new news, but we are continuing to look actively and aggressively for more sites. Because frankly, and if you come to the council meetings, you hear from some of the homeless advocates sort of on the other side here, who will tell you that 300 beds, even though that's really 1,200 because they intend to turn over 4 times a year, is not nearly enough. And you know what? They have a point. Because the point in time count was 2,052, and some say it's even larger. So we have to locate sites, in addition to the 513 that already exist in District 3 and in District 4 and in other districts throughout our city. But let me give you one specific example. Today, I was engaged in an extensive conversation with the city superintendent for the Sacramento City Unified School District, Jorge Aguilar. We have been looking and continue to look, and I am hopeful that we'll be able to open a second center at the Florin Adult Education Center on Florin Road. That's just one example, and even that will not be enough. We have to have this conversation with numerous communities throughout our city. You will not be alone. So finally, and this is the only part of this that many of you may not like, but I'm going to say it because I speak my truth, hopefully respectfully. You will persuade me, and I think a majority of the city council, that if we are going to locate these facilities anywhere, that we must do right by the community in terms of mitigation and in terms of security. Absolutely. But you will not persuade me, and I predict you will not persuade the majority of the city council if you come up here and you say, no way, never in my neighborhood. So that's sort of the context and the distinction that I draw as mayor, and I'm only 1 vote out of 9. But we are going to make this homeless problem better in this city, because to not be aggressive is to see those numbers grow from 2,052 to 4,000 to 6,000 and 8,000, including in North Sacramento and in every other part of the city. No one would be happy with that result. Let's begin the testimony.
We have 29 speakers this evening. The first one is Fago, Wanda Cleveland, and then Larry Tellers.
So, right now what I really want to address is the hepatitis A outbreak that's going on in multiple cities across the state. I'm kind of disappointed to find out that there's so many people opposing shelter options, because these shelters can actually help stop further outbreak. We've already got leaked information saying that there's already been 3 confirmed cases here in Sacramento that are being kept quiet. There's already 17 people dead in San Diego, over 400 people in Santa Cruz hospitalized, and an unconfirmed number of people in Los Angeles that have contracted hepatitis A. The conditions that spread hepatitis A are lack of restrooms, lack of ability to keep clean, wash your hands, and a lot of this is completely avoidable. We've been in here for years advocating for more shelter options. We've been advocating for opening the restrooms. And right now, we're in a very grave peril, very high risk of a lot of death happening in our city. We already lose 1 homeless person to the streets every week in the city of Sacramento. I will say I am appreciative of your stance that you are going to keep pushing for this shelter. You all know I don't think it's enough. I think that we could do a lot better.
Your prior statement.
But, yeah, it's not very often that I get to agree with you. But I appreciate that you are willing to take the stance and say, you know what, this needs to happen, even though there is opposition. It does show more courage than I've given you credit for in the past, and I do want to see more of this happen. We do need a lot more shelters. These two that are going to open up for 150 people each are nowhere near enough. That's not even a tenth of the people that are suffering homelessness right now. And it will help with trying to curb the outbreak of hepatitis A that's already starting all over the state. We don't need more deaths, we need less.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Wanda Cleveland, and then Larry Tellers.
Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you working as hard as you have been doing. Over the last couple of years, I've been here every day, every week after week, trying to get something done about our homeless population. We have 13,000 people on our streets of Sacramento any one night without a place to sleep. Now we have hepatitis A, E. coli. It's going to affect us, each and every one of us, individually, if we continue not housing these people that are on the street. Right now, I lost my sight.
It's okay.
Right now, we have E. coli in our rivers. It's a high contents of in our rivers. Well, that's telling you that there are people who are taking baths, trying to clean themselves. For the last 40 years, we have several people have come up here every week, concerned about the homeless population. And now, like Mayor, you said, it's gone up 85%. There are 13,000 people in our streets. It's not fair. It's that they are on the street when they don't want to. It's a felony if a child is on the street with a parent. It's shameful. It's disrespectful. We every week feed several people throughout the Sacramento area that are homeless or don't have enough money to buy food. We all need to come together and work together to get this problem resolved. I want to know where these people have been for the last 4 years. They're complaining now only because it's coming in their backyard. Where were they at 4 years ago?
Next speaker is Larry Tellers, then Michael Hernandez, and Kate Karzin.
Good evening. I'm a long-term member of the Woodlake community, grew up since 1975. I would agree with everyone here that homelessness is a massive problem. I travel a lot for work. I see it in many of the Bay Area, Seattle, Los Angeles, San Diego. I've been to all of these areas. I have lived in Woodlake most of my life. I already see the impact of homelessness. There was a mention earlier of 500 some odd units that are currently distributed throughout the city. The proposal that is currently being put up for the Railroad Avenue area is 300 beds. That is 60% of the total city's population that is being requested to be placed in one single point. At the closure of that one, then there is a proposal to put a 200 unit site 2 miles from there within visual distance of my house. And I'm sorry, and I understand that everyone has an issue with homelessness, but the fact of the matter is we're already impacted by it. We have felt it, we see it. My house has been burglarized, broken into twice in the last year. We have to subsidize the local police activities with our own private security that we're contributing to. We have contacted Councilman Warren. We've tried to work with the city. We've tried to work with the police. The fact of the matter is we are falling upon deaf ears, and now we feel that District 2 is being utilized as the first location because it is one of the least represented. Already we have a proposal for 40% of the city's cannabis grow houses are going to be put in this area, and now we're talking about putting homelessness, 2 large camps on either end of a small neighborhood. And I'm sorry, but anyone who says that that's not an undue influence or an improper influence on one particular area, I think that is short-sighted. I ask you to reconsider your position before moving forward. Thank you.
No booing. We respect one another's opinions
So
here.
Michael Hernandez?
Hi, my name's Mike Hernandez. I also am a resident of Woodlake for close to 50 years. I grew up in this North Sac area. We are not heartless people in Woodlake. We understand the plight of the homeless. But what you guys are proposing to do is just put so many people around our neighborhood. We already have a mental hospital coming in, and I believe a methadone clinic, where most of these people don't have transportation and probably will go to the light rail and then walk through our neighborhood. We have loaves and fishes that most of them get fed. And then we have a recycle center on the opposite side near where you want to put the shelter. So where do they go? From the loaves and fishes through Woodlake to the recycle center, stopping off at Woodlake Park, which is now a bathroom area, rest stop for homeless. They found needles in the playground, so we don't want our kids playing there anymore. We have other people that just say they find feces everywhere. So here you guys proposing this plan, and you're going to have so many more homeless people that we already have and dealing with. We just can't handle any more. And we'd love to see a different proposal before anything goes through. Thank you.
Kate and then Patricia Taylor.
My name is Kate Karazin. Thank you for your remarks, Mayor. That is much more information and more detail than we were provided when we met previously. However, as a resident and former business owner in North Sacramento, I'm here to speak against the proposed winter shelter. It looks like the city is planning to railroad this shelter into our area, despite the issues that it will cause for homeowners, tenants, and businesses there. We know there's a homeless problem in Sacramento. Our section of the American River Parkway has been burdened with garbage, human waste, loose, vicious dogs, people throwing rocks at bicyclists and causing fires. We see people scavenging in our recycle bins, squatting in vacant houses, stealing from our yards and garages, panhandling on street corners and in front of our businesses. How is providing a 300-bed shelter steps away from our main street, our Head Start program, and our own homes going to help with these issues? What do you mean when you say this will be a referral program? Will you be loading up the homeless from DOCO and busing them to North Sacramento? Certainly, this would benefit the businesses around the arena and City Hall. We have several new businesses opening on Del Paso Boulevard. How will it affect them? Will you be moving people off the parkway with their dogs, their tents, piles of belongings, drugs, etc., into this shelter? Or will they remain and more arrive to take up residence near their friends who are willing to go inside? Will you be feeding people there? Who will run this shelter? Will someone profit off of this? Will you keep your promise that the shelter will close in April? Are you surprised that North Sacramento doesn't believe you? We need more information. There's much too short a fuse on this project. We feel railroaded. We all know this is a citywide problem. There should be a citywide solution. We are compassionate, caring people, but we just want to know what is the plan.
Fair request.
Next speaker is Patricia Taylor, and then Gregory Gravinovich.
Hello, I also live in Woodlake. I'm not one of the old timers. I moved there in 1995 when the art scene was just happening, and I had a studio on the street. We moved to Woodlake from Carmichael because it's so lovely. Now it seems like my dreams are kind of shattering here. I also bought another house right on Royal Oaks, where my son and my autistic granddaughter and their mom live. They go to Woodlake Elementary School. In the morning, you see all the children walking from the other side of Arden down through Woodlake, all on their way to school, happy in the morning, right in the path of where this second shelter is going, the triage center. It doesn't, I've called the district, they weren't aware of this plan. I know you can't put a bar next to a school, but this kind of thing that close to an elementary school, it's 0.3 miles, just doesn't seem right. Now, this isn't the one that we're talking about tonight, the 300-bed one. That's at the other end. But as my neighbors have already stated so eloquently, this is just kind of surrounding us. My home is what I have to leave to my family, so that maybe my granddaughter can go to college. Is my property going to diminish in its value with all of this around us? I feel for the homeless too. I think I admire all of you, especially Mayor Steinberg, for wanting to attack this problem, but you're putting a lot on us. Maybe do something in another neighborhood, maybe do one thing, but not all of this, and not so close to our homes and our school. Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming to City Hall and testifying, okay? We hear you. Thank you.
Gregory, and then Billy Booth.
For the homeless problem, I focus on churches. When we go to church, we renew friendships with those we have not seen for a week or an entire year if it's a Jewish New Year. When we renew friendships, we are stimulating dopamine receptors in the brain. Drug addicts use illegal drugs, stimulate dopamine receptors. When we make love, we are stimulating dopamine receptors. When we dwell on God, we're stimulating dopamine receptors. So a pastor's job, or one of their jobs, is to help a drug addict switch from one addiction to another. Pastors should get more money or use more of their own money for food and shelter programs for the homeless, drug addicts, alcoholics, and poor people. All churches and pastors should be encouraged to do this. Carl Jung was a contemporary of Sigmund Freud. He indirectly started AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous. Carl Jung had a patient who wanted to stop drinking, but he had no success with counseling. He told his patient to join a church, learn their theory and rules, and follow those rules. With the church, the patient had success to stop drinking, and the patient started Alcoholics Anonymous, and he happened to be rich. He made his money on Wall Street, so it was a rich patient who knew how to start things. So for Alcoholics Anonymous, church, or God, we are replacing one addiction with another.
Thank you, sir.
And next speaker is Billy Booth, and then Janet Fricky.
Good evening, Mayor Steinberg and council members. This is only about my third time here speaking. I'm from Old North Sac Dixie Ann Community Association, and you did semi-answer one of my questions, and because I did ask you that Wednesday night, what are you going to do for the neighbors? Because we don't have that kind of money to hire Paladin or some kind of extra security.
Yes.
We are on the streets ourselves. I go out, my voice goes out, the neighbors come out. That's how we protect our streets in Dixie Ann. So putting one at one end and then one right, actually about 2 blocks from my house, is kind of a lot for us to swallow all at once. As was mentioned earlier, we have 40, 60 some, I don't know, we have a high number of marijuana grows in our area also. And I realize the two in your minds are probably totally not related, but when you get dumped on, and that's how the people feel in District 2, or in, at least in my neighborhood, being dumped on. And I wish you would just reconsider so much at one time. It's too much to swallow. It's just very hard to swallow. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for all you do in your neighborhood.
Next speaker is Janet Fricke, and then Elaine Jackson. Janet, how about Elaine Jackson?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So what I think I've heard so far this evening is that a temporary shelter will start and then possibly it won't be in conjunction with, it will be tandem to. So temporary shelter starts, that works out, then a permanent shelter. So I hear people saying that they're concerned about too many things going on at once. It's one, then after the other. I also heard somebody say about shelter being too close to a school. I've also heard somebody say about having churches have shelter. For all of us, the city council probably knows, but for the people that are bringing up church, parks, schools, not only is there an anti-camping ordinance where it's illegal to be homeless in the city of Sacramento, there's also Title 17 in part that it is illegal to have a temporary shelter more than 500 feet from a church, a park, or a school. Everyone has to live somewhere. When I moved into my community, it was a nice community. I was told there would be a park behind my house. Turned up being a middle school. Then a couple of low-income properties. I was asked to sign. I refused to sign because everyone has to be somewhere. I hear people complaining about feces. They need shelter. And for all the city council people, hepatitis A is here. Check September 19th, diagnosis. Everybody has to pull together and do something.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Next speaker is Candice Mangucci, and then Joan Lewis Kennard. Oh, I'm sorry, Elaine.
Hi, my name is Elaine Jackson, and I live in the Woodlake neighborhood. I also own a duplex in the Woodlake neighborhood. The reason that I'm here and speaking is because Del Paso Boulevard has been depressed for many years. We've been hearing for years it needs to be renovated and redeveloped. And all we've seen is a revolving door of businesses. Very few businesses survive there. You've not had a good plan. You really haven't invested any dollars there. And now, the dollars that you're going to bring to the area is for the homeless people. I don't mind. I've been on all the parkways. I've been in many vacant lots, vacant homes all throughout the city with my occupation. I'm retired now. I've seen the homeless. It disturbs me also. I hand out things to the homeless all the time. I give money constantly. That is not what I'm upset about, is that you helping the homeless. What I'm upset about is that an economically depressed area, District 2 is, and I just heard you say Florin Road, which is another economically depressed area, that's where all the people are going to end up. That's my issue. There's no low-income housing in East Sacramento. There's no low-income housing in Land Park. There's no low-income housing in Southland Park, Curtis Park. You can name many areas. That is not right. We deserve to have our share of tax dollars in our area for improvements and not bringing it down. That is what's going to happen with this. And that's the issue and the reason I'm so upset about it. All the other city council people should be bringing low-income housing to their districts. That's not fair to us at all. That is, everyone there is very disturbed because we're concerned about our property values too.
I appreciate your your testimony. Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Candace, and then Joan Lewis Kennard.
Okay, hi, my name is Candace Mangouche. I'm a resident of Woodlake, and I've been living there for about a year. But before I came to you all in Sacramento about 10 years ago, I was couch surfing, and you could consider me houseless or homeless for a couple of years. I currently have friends who are homeless here and in other areas. What makes me different from them? I'm not really sure. But I know that a series of irrational decisions and sober decisions can take you places you never thought you would end up. In California, public policy has been moving away from institutionalization and warehousing people in mass shelters and residential facilities. Foster care reform is closing group homes, services for the elderly, developmentally disabled, short-term crisis mental health services, and for other populations are being provided in community-based sites, small clinics, and in homes or smaller home-like settings. If the aim of the proposed homeless facilities is to give people a hand up instead of a handout and get them on the path to self-sufficiency and contributing to our society, why would the city and county want to address the issue in a way that is considered inappropriate, unsafe, and unhealthy for these other groups? Could a solution be setting up a number of smaller group homes all over the city? Get some hands-on personal care to the people who need it? Naturally, conflict was created when the locations were announced, and we didn't have a chance to present any ideas or options for meaningful solutions like rapid rehousing, maybe Habitat for Humanity, reinstating the inclusionary housing ordinance. So instead of warehousing people in an area with historically low civic participation and voter turnout, and before moving forward, let's examine some creative solutions that have been used in other places.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was very helpful.
Joan Lewis Kennard, and then Lola Acosta.
Good evening, everyone. President Trump, you can't declare war with Korea. I'm getting my apartment together. My former boyfriend and his dog are leaving November 2017. There's no heartbreak but love. I'm looking for a roommate, or maybe, just maybe anyway. I can't pay for this high rent, $1,000 a month for one bedroom. Just greedy owners. $150 more when my lease is up for a two-bedroom, two-bath apartment. My mother was in World War II as a kid. Someone ate her cat. She hurt her ankle from walking. No more war to be declared. I haven't seen my family in the Philippines, Manila, yet. A lot of us, United States of America, came from war-torn zones. I'm not with you, President Trump. No war to be declared with North Korea. Let them be communists, so what? None of the former presidents of the United States of America bothered with North Korea. You, President Trump, are a Christian. God put you there. I'm with God. No more war. I'm not an African American, I'm a Black American. African, Asian, Filipino, Chinese, white Europeans, Spanish, Spain, North American Indian, Iroquois, and Cherokee. I'm a proud United States of American, USA. Keep God in the churches, temples, synagogues, Christians, Sikhs, Muslim, Buddhists, Jews, Mormons, etc. I love it. No more war. Please, President Trump, to be declared. Ask God, your God, for wisdom. A little boy said he has a backpack, had a bomb in it. If he took his backpack off, the bomb would explode. No bomb. Thank God.
Ma'am, your time is up. Thank you very much. We appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Lola Acosta, and then David Andre.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, and Mr. Chan. Just last week, we learned of the mayor's plan to open a winter homeless shelter walking distance to the west of Woodlake and a homeless triage center 2 blocks from the eastern border of Woodlake. In that very brief meeting, the mayor failed to describe similar homeless shelters distributed equally throughout the city and county. We know there is need, and we do not lack compassion, so spare us any NIMBY titles, please. Woodlake and District 2 cannot be expected to absorb every social service program for Sacramento's ills. Mr. Mayor, you said you would take full responsibility. Please place 2 homeless shelters in your neighborhood. Until details are aired showing homeless shelters in all districts, including the River District, Mr. Hanson, I oppose the mayor's 2 proposed locations.
David Andre, and then Deneb Williams.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'd like to talk today more about the bathrooms. We've come in here and we've asked about the public toilets, and now it seems that we have an epidemic all over our state on our hands. There's talk on the street that there's more people sick than we know about or that the papers are covering. Can we please get the streets washed down and get some of the public toilet facilities open so that we're not spreading fecal material throughout the city, please, sir? Thank you.
Next speaker is Deneb Williams, and then Mario Rupert.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, council members. My name is Deneb Williams. I'm the owner of Woodlake Tavern, and we're a new business on the boulevard. My wife and I have brought our time and our energy to be a part of an economic resurgence on Del Paso Boulevard. We love this neighborhood. We think it has a lot of potential. We also recognize that this district, this neighborhood, its economic recovery is very fragile. We are one part of a bigger puzzle. I can probably speak for many other of the local business owners. I sit on the PBID, and when we say we recognize the homeless issue because we deal with it every single day. Every day we are impacted with this. Bringing these shelters to our neighborhood can only increase the burden on a neighborhood that doesn't have the resources to handle it. We don't have the ability economically to sustain this type of an influx of homeless people into our neighborhood. I work with my church every year. I'm the lead chef for Winter Sanctuary. My family and I cook for an entire week to serve the homeless. We are not without compassion. We feel the need for this, but it has to be a shared burden. And in our neighborhood, there is already so much pressure economically. We need help. This cannot possibly this will crush our neighborhood. This will not be what we need to find the economic resurgence. Once we have that, we can possibly be part of the solution. But the way this is structured right now, this cannot help our neighborhood. Thank you.
Mario Rupert, and then Sarah Michael.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, council members and Mayor Steinberg. My name is Mario Rupert. I am a resident of Sacramento and actually did reside in Hagenwood, Del Paso Heights area, and recently now reside in District 5, Jay Chenier's area. I'm actually an advocate for the American River Parkway and also an advocate for North Sacramento. I am a certified California naturalist, and I volunteer my time in District 2 and also for the American River Parkway to help educate local youth on the importance of water pollution prevention, native plant and animal species within the parkway, and reintroduce children to the American River Parkway. It has been a constant battle to clean up District 2 of not only illegal activity, trash, needles, and fecal matter, but also to have more businesses to open on or near Del Paso Boulevard. District 2, as I see, has had many punches in the gut with especially no time to dust itself off and in time to recover. To possibly have a homeless shelter in an area very close to the entry of the newly approved off-road bike trail near Wood Lake and Camp Pollock, which had actually spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to remodel the lodge, this area is already stricken with crime and also with economic struggles. We need a safer access for recreation to the parkway in Camp Pollock. By potentially having a homeless shelter near access points to the newly approved off-road bike trail in Camp Pollock, as I feel, is a bad idea. To have two separate locations for homeless legal campers in an area already deprived of economic progress and growth. I feel it would be unfair to continue to challenge District 2. I feel the whole and all districts should also take upon this challenge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Sarah Michael. Following Ms. Michael is David Plagg.
Bear with, because I have never used this thing. So.
No.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, honey. So you've seen me here before, Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you. The problem with CADA remains unresolved. That takes a longer conversation. What I want to bring your attention to right now is what I'm headed for and what's going on. The picture with the 99-cent box, that is an old woman about my age who lives out of that storage unit. She is homeless. That is my Toby cat that in 2 months of CADA is successful in throwing me out so they can raise their rents, which is what helps make people homeless. He will be euthanized because of his emotional problems and his physical problems. I've had him for 11 years since he was 2 weeks old. He cannot be rehomed. The picture of this manual wheelchair, my electric battery died in the middle of the street yesterday during rush hour. The boxes to the right of how I packed and moved 26 boxes on that wheelchair, because CADA has moved me twice so far and is going to do it a third time this week. CADA's packing and delivering, regardless of everything that I provided them, they literally dumped. I wish this picture were more clear. Maybe you can see it where they literally just dump things. They have broken things. They delivered curdled milk, rotten potatoes that I have never seen mold of that color. But again, the problem continues, and so far the only thing that has been done is to speak to the woman who has created this problem, who with papers I can prove is lying, but I can't get anyone's attention on that. Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Plagg, and then Amy Pierce.
Good evening. My name is David Plagg. I'm with the Del Paso Boulevard Partnership, and what I want to comment tonight on is with the homeless shelter, and I'm just going to focus on just the winter shelter being proposed on Railroad Drive and Del Paso Boulevard. With the lowest income level, lowest education level, and lowest voter participation level of any district in the city, it's wrong that we now want to add a homeless winter shelter. This proposed homeless shelter is less than 200 feet from a federally funded daycare facility, less than 300 feet from a church, and along Railroad Drive, you have 4 marijuana grow facilities that are running right now. With 40% of the proposed marijuana grow facilities in Sacramento, this district has absorbed enough. North Sacramento will share the burden, but we can't shoulder the entire burden. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your comments earlier, but how are you going to manage the homeless at this site? And you know we're meeting tomorrow to talk about it. How is the PBID going to afford the additional resources to cover the security and cover maintenance? Who is going to cover the cost for the mitigation for local businesses? I don't have a big employer in this district. I don't have a big Intel or anything. These are all small mom and pop shops. They are the ones that are going to be hurt by this mostly. The homeless issue is a whole city issue. It's not just a North Sacramento issue. And we can be part of the solution, but we can't be the whole solution. I invite you, Mayor, and I talk to your staff. If you want to come out to North Sacramento and to present your plan to the entire community that will be affected. I think that will be a great first step, and that will alleviate a lot of the things that are being discussed. But you got to come out, you got to present the plan that you want, hang on, and really sell what you want to sell. I mean, this is a very compassionate community. It just can't absorb.
Time is up, David. Thank you. Thank you. No, okay, thank you, sir. I let him go a little extra, and I will take you up on your offer happily.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Amy Pierce, and then Robert Copland.
I'm a resident of the Woodlake neighborhood. I've been there since 2001. You told each of us that both of these facilities will be facilities where people would be transported to and from. There's been no explanation whatsoever as to why these test facilities are actually going to be constructed right in the middle of neighborhoods. Since these are transitional facilities, it doesn't mean there's going to be 300 or 200 people. There's going to be a constant influx of people coming and going. What I don't understand is why with these test facilities, they can't be constructed somewhere where they're not impeding the neighbors. I work from home. I have for the last 4 years. I walk my dogs in the neighborhood. I see the homeless influx in my neighborhood. I'm a block from the park, from the Sheriff's Memorial, the tennis courts. I see what happens there where people get pushed around. SAC PD refuses to support us. The park rangers are not to be seen. Paladin is not permitted to regulate the parks, and yet you're telling us we should feel secure. Instead, I feel like I'm a hostage in my own home, because these individuals that come to the park, they know my name, they know where I live, they know what vehicle I drive, they know when I'm home and when I'm not home. I don't feel safe or secure in my own neighborhood, and now you're asking me to be patient and allow you to build an extraordinarily large facility less than a half mile from my house. This makes me incredibly uncomfortable. The street that I live on is a gateway to the local school for kids. They come from the Del Paso neighborhood to come into Woodlake School. You are now going to have a huge homeless population that's destination will be this park and the Sheriff's Memorial and our tennis courts. Why? Because it is now. If you continue with this, I genuinely hope you will buy my property so that I can buy a house in your affluent neighborhood so that I don't have to do this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Robert Copland, and then Mac Worthy.
Well, Saturday, I was in Alameda at a 10 Power Summit, and we was talking about rent control, just cause evictions. There's like about 400 to 500 of us that showed up, and that's only a tiny fraction of the people that want housing in California. It is not a Sacramento problem. It is a statewide problem or a national problem. We need to fix it. And as far as putting all the burden in District 2, I think it should be 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They all should share the burden. So what are those city council members going to do about it? None of those are there except for Al Warren, who's being affected by this. Can you come up with a solution in all your districts to help? Well, come up with a good plan that both sides can agree on. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mac Worthy, and then Pat Sayer-Handley.
To the homeless people, you track the 218 people that they're going to relocate. What they're telling you, you are not nice enough to relocate. You find out where they're going to locate those
To the council, Mr. Worthy.
From Dorsria. Where you going to relocate people from Dorsria? These people need to know and bring that back to a lawsuit. Because you got 2 and 3 bedrooms you have to be to relocate those people. But as furthermore people, North Sacramento, use your voting power on sales tax. Vote it down. I know that well, Dick Wells area, I know that well area. I walked the precinct with you. Vote it down. because you are being used. But what I want to do here is about the national anthem. People, this is the repercussion of misusing the 60 movement of people calling themselves African Americans. That's all. How did they get Pentagon money tied up with sports in America? Was that by Congress or was that an executive order? And I encourage Donald Trump to pull it. Because where would a black man go and make $4 million a year? Nowhere. Who is their bargaining people? To white folks and Jews, 30% up the top. That's where the money is. What have they invested to help other blacks? Nothing.
Excuse me?
We got a black man here that got a cheesecake. We can't even get black people to patronize him. I went to the business myself. I established this is free enterprise. This is not socialism. This is free enterprise. Do something for your own people and quit lying. There will be no triage unless you have 8 of them to preach the line. There's no bathroom in no church for 50 people to take a bath at one time. Not their people. They're lying to you. Next 12 months, this will be the same issue because you have made money to the general funds of homeless people. You made money. And that was all that you could do is come in and beg because you have no ideas no more.
Good night, Mr. Worthy. Next.
Pat Sayer Handley, and then Mary Tapple.
Hi, I've been listening, and essentially I just like to restate, a problem that we've had since the 1990s when I got involved with the Sacramento County Alliance of Neighborhoods. And at that time, we were dealing with fair share. And I think we're now still dealing with that issue. The disadvantaged have been located in the poor neighborhoods. We believe that we can find solutions. We do have compassion, but this citywide problem has really been burdened on North Sacramento. People have given lots of testimony to that. What I'm just thinking is that we really need a plan that finds a true solution. Maybe this rapid rehousing is a way that we can step forward rather than just stopgapping the problem. Anyway, I'd like to be reassured by some of you that I have met in previous situations that there are going to be at least 8 other sites for homeless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
Mary Tapple, and then John Gay.
Hi, I'm Mary Tapple. Good evening, Mayor Steinberg, members of the City Council. Mayor Steinberg, you answered almost everything that I was going to propose and say was needed for the North Sacramento area. So instead, I'll go to more detail. As far as the good neighbor policy the city needs to show the local North Sacramento neighborhood and all its visitors and all its businesses, is that you're going to have the city demonstrating as good a good neighbor policy, one that's kept, just to the extent that Sacramento Loaves and Fishes has never kept their good neighbors policy, which you have heard endlessly from the River District folks. So you're going to have to be the complete opposite of Sacramento Loaves and Fishes. I know you can be, and I know it can work. For example, the atmosphere with more enforcement and attention to the Lower American River Parkway. We had a very big difference, which mattered a lot, on our Lower American River cleanup of this last September 16th, another Saturday morning. Instead of having illegal campers there harass us and use obscenities and do public defecation and urination. Instead, they were polite. They approached us only if invited. And when they were told that they were welcome to share in the refreshments if they joined in the cleanup, they politely went and helped us clean up. And they stayed polite throughout everything. Nobody said anything about, they were doing more than their fair share. And so everybody did their fair share there that morning. Everybody got the same refreshments. And it worked out just fine. And so I hope you will continue with your good neighbors policy with whatever happens or doesn't happen on Railroad Avenue and the corner of Del Paso Boulevard, but you're going to need to outperform yourselves. And please do that, and please make sure the jobs for cleanup, that they somehow go to unemployed people who are residents of that area. and please increase the security. You're going to need to. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is John Gay, and then Alicia Sebastian.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. First of all, I want to thank the city manager, the Assistant City Manager, Arturo Sanchez, and Sergeant Galliano with the Impact Squad for getting me to the stand down that's coming up Thursday. You know, there's a lot of things about Sacramento that makes me really proud that I'm here. And one thing that's been in the news we could not have missed was this, you know, Donald Trump and the football players, you know, all the stuff going on about kneeling down for the national anthem. You know, I joined the Marine Corps on my 17th birthday, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think what the council and the mayor ought to do is do something proactive on this issue. It's getting confused. You know, nobody's trying to disrespect the flag. Nobody's trying to disrespect the country. What they're trying to do is draw attention to citizens being shot by people who said they were going to protect them. Protect and serve. Most of them do, but a few don't. So those who don't have to be treated as criminals. And maybe this city can make national news and get some real attention by declaring a day of mourning for all those innocent people who have fallen at the hands of those who have protected and served or have taken pay to protect and serve. So let's clarify the issue. The issue is not the flag or disrespecting it. The issue is quit killing innocent people. And let's draw attention to this. So please consider this among yourselves a day of mourning. A day of mourning for those people who we all grieve.
Thank you.
We all grieve those people.
Thank you for testifying.
Let's have a day of mourning for them.
Alicia Sebastian, and then Tree Justensen.
I'm way too short to stand behind this, and I got heels
We can
on,
get
so
your
I'm-
mic.
You have a mic?
Can we, yeah, we can.
Use the lower one, too. Yeah, I can hang out right here.
That's fine. Okay, welcome.
I'll let y'all lean into it a little bit. Lean in, okay. Wow, I'm too tall. That never happens. Good evening. I'm Alicia Sebastian. I do happen to work for a statewide nonprofit affordable housing advocacy organization, but tonight I'm here as a homeowner, a resident, and a neighbor in Old North Sacramento. Tonight I'm here to say, yes, in my backyard. As importantly, I'm here to say, council members, mayor, and residents from throughout the city, yes, in your backyard. Because every neighborhood needs to do its fair share to support the greater Sacramento community. To be sure, those gathered here are not the full representation of Old North Sacramento. Many could not be here tonight because they are home taking care of their families, working second jobs, attending night school, or because they too are experiencing homelessness and cannot use limited resources to be here. I do not propose to speak on their behalf, but I do want us to keep them in mind. Providing housing for all of our community members is a social justice and equity issue. At the same time, asking one of Sacramento's poorest communities to carry the city's weight in serving our most vulnerable is also a social justice and equity issue. We are happy to do our fair share, so long as we see our fair share of investments, streetlights, services, small business support, and community responsive law enforcement. I want to know, so long as we see our fair share of local dollars to which our community's cannabis cultivation will disproportionately contribute. I want to know more about the city and the county's plans to meet our RHNA, to zone for our housing needs and goals, to reinvest in our underserved and disadvantaged neighborhood, to prevent gentrification and displacement, and to affirmatively further fair housing. I am asking you as our leadership to stand with me and say yes in all of our backyards. To clarify, my comments here are not about proposed subsidized housing projects. My concerns here are about how we plan to provide the highest quality service for our most vulnerable community members. Together, I know we can do better than only abandoned warehouses in our poorest neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tree Justison, and then Lambert Davis.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and City Council. We hope that, Mr. Mayor, that you had said earlier that you would attend, that would hopefully come to District 2 and
Yes.
provide information. I hope you do that in person. We do feel, I'm a
Yes.
resident of Woodlake. Okay.
Holly, I was there last week. I'm happy to come again, of course.
I do feel, we do feel a little railroaded because this got dropped in our lap in the middle of the week, and now, I'm just saying. So I just want to reiterate, I'm happy that you will come and tell us details. We really need details. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Lambert Davis, and then Richard Wake.
Or more after that, I believe.
To the mayor and the city council, I wanted to really talk to the mayor. I know you're not supposed to talk to somebody directly, but I wanted to make you aware that I met John Silva during the spring when you brought the budget to be discussed at the community center. I thought that was outstanding, what you did, because we didn't really get that kind of support in District 2. And so that day, I met John Silva. He actually, nobody introduced us, so nobody could take credit. He actually introduced himself. And so what we did is, and I have proof of this, and I wanted to leave this for you. I want you to look at this. This was a wonderful human being, John Silva. And what we did is we got together. Just him and I, we sat down, we figured out a strategy. This was in June. I have proof of that. And so I was out of town, and when I got back, somebody showed me that he had passed. So I haven't been coming down to City Hall because I've been real busy. We have now gotten our business where it's now state certified, federal certified, Better Business accredited. We even have we've always had the manufacturer in District 2. It used to be across the street from Iceland Skating Rink, Baco Products. They got a huge contract, so now they're across the street from 7-Eleven. I mean, not 7-Eleven, 7-Up Bottling Company. So they're huge, and they can get out truckloads of cheesecakes for us anywhere in California. And what Mr. Silva and I had come up with, and it's in here, we wanted to put together commerce where we could donate some of the money to the homeless and to the youth programs. We both bonded on that. Here's his card right here, and I don't have much time, but here's his card. I'm gonna keep it.
So that's the proposal
that him and I came up with. It's in here.
You came up, well,
so I can leave it here, and maybe you. And by the way, your office actually contacted me because I was trying to get a meeting with you. I was shocked actually, but
Okay.
this is it. And so I want to offer my condolences to his wife too because I had talked to her.
well, thank you for coming and testifying and reminding us what a special person John Silva was. We celebrated his life here at City Hall, I believe it was last week, and his funeral service was last Friday, and I only got to work with him for a short period of time. He was a remarkable man, and a lot of people loved him. And
You read what him and I were working on.
Okay.
You know, it's for you.
I will read it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Richard Wake, and then Kristen Perry.
Good evening. Somebody from the District 2 said not to use the term NIMBY, but I will. That's a NIMBY attitude that we're seeing here tonight. And you know, if you people cave in to not having the shelter open in District 2, and I would agree that more shelters need to be open everywhere, every district, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, will all be bringing people in here making excuses as to why they can't open shelters in their neighborhood if you allow that. You know, their right to not have the shelter in District 2 is trumped by the looming public health crisis that's going to come if we do not open up public restrooms and hand sanitizing stations throughout the city, and do it now. There was just an article in the Bee, I read on Facebook this morning about how Placer County health officials are very, very concerned about the outbreak of hepatitis A. There's no more delay. We need to get restrooms and public shelter and public hand washing facilities open now throughout the city to avoid people dropping like flies in the street. It's going to happen. You guys need to take action now. Somebody also said that the homeless people are, there's going to be shelter near the schools. Well, those people are already walking around the schools. The shelters are going to keep people off of the streets. There's going to be less people. And I would love to see a shelter. I would love to do my share. Right now, I'm trying to work with the staff person and council member Cheniers in my district, in District 5, to do a neighborhood cleanup. I'm doing my part. I went through down 35th Avenue the other day and picked up 3 large bags of trash, and I'm working to get a neighborhood cleanup organized on 35th Avenue and Riverside Boulevard because the amount of garbage that's on the street. You let these NIMBY people from District 2 rule over a public health crisis, and every district is going to have people flooding in here saying why they can't open up shelters in the district. Say yes, no to the NIMBY people, and yes to resolving a public health crisis. Thank you.
Please, listen, people in my view are coming in here in good faith, expressing their concerns. No, we're not going to do that. I respect it. This is what democracy is about. You're welcome here, everybody.
Kristen Perry and then Kimberly Lee.
All right. Guess who just moved to the neighborhood? I'm from Los Angeles. My husband and I just bought a home after looking in East Sac. Of course, we're priced out of there. Midtown priced out of there. Everywhere pretty much priced out, but we loved, what we saw in North Old Sac, and, we were proud to be there. I think we can find a solution together. I don't even know what NIMBY is, to be honest with you, but I am going to, if it's okay, use my cell phone to list some bullet points that I would hope you consider.
Of course.
I did some research, because I think we need to obviously mitigate or find a solution to this problem. Mega shelters to help homeless people are not the answer. There are models and case studies of success through scaled back versions and rapid housing that we need to duplicate here. You can look at San Diego, for example, where the homeless population has increased, and they followed a mega shelter model. Yeah, and there's also hepatitis A there. The emergency shelter and mega shelters are simply too large and too close to residential areas and to school. This is not an industrial area, as has been, I've seen reported a little bit, and will change this neighborhood forever and for the worse. The added security police, transportation for homeless, drug addicts, mentally ill, and violence, that does come with the homeless population. I know they're not all like that, but there is evidence that comes with it. Sounds like Sacramento's new Skid Row. Not sure I want to live there. Your proposed permanent mega shelter compound has failed other cities and will compound the problem as it did in San Diego and parts of Los Angeles. You're proposing for deintegration as a reaction. And this is the main point. Let's not react as a frustration. Let's build a business model to this, and this is everyone's problem. But it cannot come at the price of one community, especially when there's so much potential in North Old Sac for prosperity. There are alternatives to mega shelters. There is a thorough report that built mutual trust between government and the communities in Hayward, including case studies and model practices on mitigating homeless. I can provide that to you. Well, I'll regret it, forgive me, but don't drive the homeless like a herd up our Del Paso. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kimberly Lee, and then the last speaker is Tim Boyd.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to speak on behalf of understanding the PC law, PC 211 law for armed robbery. I listened to everyone this evening, and they talk about the homeless. I'm gonna say two things. They talk about the homeless and what it does and what it protrudes and how bad it's gonna be in the neighborhoods. But what they don't see is the sex offenders that are already in the neighborhoods, that are following around our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and all these little girls. Not everybody that's homeless.
Please address the city council.
Not everybody that's homeless, like myself. I had a job, I have a home, I have the kids in the car. Now I'm displaced and I'm shunned upon, and I can't get any help because we're bad. It's not us that are bad. Not all of us are bad. I'm going to move on to this because that wasn't what I'm here for. I need to understand the PC law, the law that says when you banish a weapon in an armed robbery, if you go into a commercial or a residential and you pull out a weapon, say Mayor Steinberg, I draw my weapon on you. I'm going to take your money and your food, but I'm not going to shoot you. You turn around, say your officer, give me life. If I kill you in an armed robbery, I get parole. That part I don't understand. State law, our law, California state law says, banishing a weapon in an armed robbery in a commercial or a residential, and you do not use force or a threat, you get life. My son is looking at life. I'm here on my son's behalf.
Here in your son's behalf. Okay.
My son is looking at 16 to life on his circumstances, which are thought place for our action. Our action holds consequences, and our consequences can hold remorse.
Okay.
I'm here for him.
And we don't adjudicate the criminal law here. What can we do to help you
I need to
specifically?
know, I need to understand this law.
Okay.
I say, if you pull a weapon on anybody.
Hold on. Does your son have a public defender, an attorney?
That's what it is, a public defender.
Okay. If it would help you.
Steinberg, I looked for you for a long time. I couldn't find you anywhere. I've been looking for a long time. I started no right to indict. As our officers.
Ma'am, I think we're going to have to end this now, but we'll try to have one of our staff people talk to you.
Why, Mayor? Why? It goes for everybody.
Here's what we can try to do. We can try to make contact with your son's public defender.
I have.
Try to get an answer to the question, but that's the best we can do. I'm sorry,
He was
ma'am.
in college. He had a job. He was scouting for the Indians to play ball.
I'm sorry.
My dad is an ex-pro baseball player in the Hall of Fame here that you guys take pictures of the kids. You can't help me understand why they're going to take my son.
We're happy to try to talk to your son's attorney and see if we could can.
It's a public
express our
pretender. I'm looking for help. I want to know about this law.
Okay.
District
Why don't we
Attorney
try to find out a little bit about
Hanson
PC,
understood what I was
PC 211. We
saying.
have Mr. Sanchez back there, and we can try to answer your question.
Cut me
okay?
off.
Thank
I
you.
knew it. Thank you.
My last speaker is Tim Boyd.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm listening to all this stuff. I've been over here for years and years coming to City Council meetings. Dedicated soldier in Oak Park, ran Oak Park Citizens United against slumlords. I mean, we had to even deal with Kevin Johnson when he was one of our number one slumlords before he became the mayor of Sacramento. Oak Park Citizens United against slumlords has been going after people and asking for transparency from this board for years. And I'm still waiting for some stuff. District 5, we don't have any bus stops between 35th and Broadway all the way down. That's a lot. And you are on the RT Board of Directors, but your voice is like the silence of the lambs. And you have some business holdings in District 7, I believe, this Family's Fathers First or whatever it is. So what I'm asking all of you guys, Alan Warren put me on a board a couple of years ago for the homeless. He wanted to use my gift of gap to convince El Paso Heights to say yes to all this stuff. And I said, well, let me be fair about this. I want this spread throughout. All of your districts should be part of this, because without this, we're not part of the solution. There's a lot of hypocrites sitting up here. All of you sit up here and act like you're about the homeless. We don't have any frickin' public bathrooms down here yet. And now if these young people get caught peeing outside, they're a sex offender. This is a hot mess, and it's disgusting. It's not the Cap City, it's more like the Crap City. Everything out here is dirty. I work for the federal government on 1325 J Street. Our janitors are now cleaning up feces from the sidewalks because the homeless people don't have a place to do their business. Where do you go when you have to go with the flow? You have bathrooms here that are locked down to the public now, but you guys have conveniences. I'm riding the light rail train tonight. If I don't get out of here in time tonight and pee, I might be arrested. Where do I go tonight? Think about that when you guys sleep, and come back with some transparency and some honesty before re-election time hits. Thank you.
That concludes the public testimony for items on the agenda. Again, we're not taking action on any of these items tonight, but I know that a couple council members are up and want to make some comments, so I'm going to allow them to do so. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. I heard a lot of comments tonight. Some issues were conflated. There's been some misinformation and a lot of comments that make me realize that people are fearful about what a triage shelter could mean to their neighborhood. Those are all fair concerns, and frankly, I want to thank you for taking the time to come to council to make your comments. But one thing I didn't hear tonight is the idea that a triage shelter could actually work, that it could create temporary respite from the elements for a significant number of people who live outdoors, that we could apply services and apply casework and get people moved into a better situation so that their lives could improve substantially. Our goal in doing a triage shelter is not to, as your signs say, dump in District 2, or District 2 is not your trash bin. That has nothing to do with what we're trying to achieve here. What we're trying to do, as the mayor has said several times, is get people off the streets. We're in a critical juncture, and this is something that we need to do. We are not warehousing people. That's not the intent. The intent is to give respite from the elements and help people move forward with their lives in a very productive way. We have a lot of providers in Sacramento that are very effective at doing this. And quite frankly, there are shelter beds in almost every district currently. Emily Halcon, our Homeless Services Coordinator, has testified to this many times in this council. I have represented District 3 for almost 3 years, and that includes the River District. To be quite honest, the River District has the preponderance of all shelter beds in the city, more than 500 in the River District alone. Shelter beds are not a problem. The programs that we have are productive and move people into a better condition. The problems that you associate with homelessness are not going to be exacerbated by a triage shelter. They're going to be aided by it. Now, that may be a hard thing for you to get past and believe, but I can tell you if we do winter triage on Railroad Drive, if we cannot prove that it's a successful program, there's no way we would move on and replicate an unsuccessful program in another building. These are sequential. They're not running concurrently. We will have 4 months to prove our concept, to show that by applying our resources and all the great skills that our providers have, that we can make a successful effort to move people off the streets. This is a very important thing to consider. Now, I get the rhetoric of saying, don't over-concentrate in District 2. The fact of the matter is, it is now more concentrated in District 3, and it probably will be for the duration. The River District has dealt with these issues for over 20 years. Our point in even proposing a triage shelter is to get people off the streets, to minimize the impacts to your neighborhood, to make things better in District 2 and District 3, in South Natomas, in Northgate, Alhambra. Homelessness is all over the city. It's clear down in the south area. You are not the only victims of the impacts of homelessness. This is a citywide issue. Now, why don't we open triage shelters all over the city all at once? Quite frankly, we don't have enough money to do it. We have to start somewhere and prove this concept, and we can do this. Now, as far as your fears about this, I think it's completely fair for you to ask for more information, and it's incumbent upon us to provide it. And I know that the mayor and certainly myself are happy to come to your district and flesh out what we envision for this triage shelter. We have spent years looking at programs in cities all over the West Coast and even farther afield and assessed what works. Emily and I and other staff members went to a triage center in San Francisco to look at their program and figure out how to do this. We're not going into this blind. We're not opening an empty warehouse and dumping people in there. And if that's your concept, it's absolutely wrong. There will be enhanced sanitation. There will be showers available, Elica Health. Dealing with the health issues, the psychological issues, the addiction issues for people who are in need. The alternative is to let people languish in the streets, and that's just not acceptable. As far as the good neighbor policy, Mary, you raised a couple of issues. The fact of the matter is we rewrote the good neighbor policy for loaves and fishes, and actually they've been a good player for the last year. So good neighbor policies are necessary, and you're absolutely right that people have to be held to the tenets of those policies, and we will certainly do that. There's another thing that we're looking at, which is creating some employment out of this project as well. And Emily and I are going to go up to Reno and look at the Reno Works program. It's entirely possible that we can build on successes in the triage center and start getting people into some employment as well, which we know really helps move people forward from a homeless condition. We've got a lot of good ideas. We've been dealing with homelessness in this area. I've lived around here 40 years. It hasn't changed much. It's gotten worse in the last 2 years. We need to be aggressive, as the mayor said. This is the time to do it before our population grows. If you look at any other city on the West Coast, Portland has over 10,000 unhoused people. Seattle, 16. San Francisco, more than 10. San Jose, around 14,000 people. San Diego, 34,000. In LA County, 68,000 people. If we let our population, our unhoused population, grow much larger, the amount of money it would take to solve those issues is astronomical, and we'll never have it. We're poised in a position, if we move quickly, that we can get on top of this. We can aid a lot of people to create a lot better circumstance in their life, and that has to be our focus. Homelessness is a critical issue in Sacramento, and we're bound and determined to explore all the ideas that we've gathered and try to get some success here. So I appreciate your concerns, but I have to tell you, we've been dealing with this in D3 in a very concentrated manner for over 20 years. D2 is not where we're going to concentrate the problem. Hopefully, we're going to concentrate the solution there in the short term. We will look for triage centers in other districts. We are scouring now for locations to do it and the money to make it effective. And we will get there. We will get there because we're bound and determined to make progress on this issue. And we need you to be team members. So as far as the information goes, we will come to your district and hopefully we will convince you that we can make a better circumstance rather than a worse circumstance in District 2. So Mayor, I don't want to go on a tirade. You know I've worked on this for a lot of years and I have a lot to say, but I see success ahead, and I hope that we can convince you that there is a successful path forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris. Councilmember Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to need some things. First of all, we're going to need a fact sheet that we can get out to people, explaining to them what it's all about, how it works. We need to communicate using as many of our channels as we can. Rumors spread fast, faster than even I had imagined. A proposed day reporting center with 8 desks on Franklin Boulevard turned into building a 17-acre penitentiary, Franklin and Florence, and it did it in 2 days. So we have to kind of get ahead of this and get the information out. The second or third speaker, the lady back here, we need to replay what she said, because what she did is outline all of the information that she thought she would need in order to feel comfortable with this. And we have to answer that not only for District 2 and 3, but also for 5 and 8.
Yes.
We also are going to have to do the outreach, the personal outreach, to go out and have community meeting, maybe a joint 5-8 community meeting, to let people know what the issues are. And all of the things that we're doing to mitigate problems that might occur. I think this fairness issue is a big issue, and we're going to have to address it. I understand that there are huge impediments to just getting control of a property. You just can't go and say, I'm going to get a property in East Sac, I'm going to get a property in the pocket. It doesn't happen like that, but somehow we're going to have to address the fairness issue. I know it's a prevalent feeling in District 8, and I also know it's a prevalent feeling in District 2. I would just offer one caution on sites. Projects like this don't work well on commercial corridors for the corridor itself because it creates dead space, and commercial activity begets commercial activity. So I know there's always a problem getting a spot, but commercial corridor is probably not the best thing to do for this type of activity. What you want to do in commercial corridors is put other commercial activities around it, just like you want a restaurant next to another restaurant, art next to another art. The synergistic effect causes both of them to grow. So we're going to have to deal with that when we have our joint meeting as well. So I just, one caution, Emily. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Carr. Member Ashby.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, would like to thank the folks that came out. I appreciate hearing from the community and from the advocates tonight, and I think at the end of the day, whatever we come up with will be much better off having been informed by the dialogue. It's clear to me that there are many questions and lots of misinformation all over the place, and so we're going to need to do a better job of getting information out to the community. In that vein, City Manager, I have a request of you, and perhaps I'm alone on this one, but I'm not clear on the process here. So there are things that were said tonight, actually, Mayor, in your introductory comments, which I appreciated, but they were the first time I had heard them, including the other site that you mentioned. I haven't heard that before, and I don't know exactly how this site was selected, nor do I know which part comes back to the council for approval versus what action we've already taken. And I'm not asking for this to be answered now because obviously it's not agendized, but perhaps the city manager could provide, and I'm assuming other council members would like to have it too, but if not, for sure, District 1. I'd love to know what are the steps from where we are now to what we're trying to achieve. What is the outcome we want to see besides just, housing people and getting wraparound services, but what are the things we need? And I know, Mayor, that you've worked hard on this, but I think I just need to see it, what parts we have to vote on and when those decisions are made in a time frame process. Because what happens is folks, ask us, they read in the paper, hey, there's going to be more spots. Is it going to be by my work? Is it what's happening here? And I'm having a hard time answering because I don't know how those decisions are being made and when they're being made and which parts come back to us that we would be determining what to do next. So for example, I too have been on the council for a bit, and I too have visited lots of homeless sites. Portland was probably the one that I spent the most time with, and they all manage themselves a little bit differently, all of them. And so I'm interested in sort of what we're working our way towards with the shelter component. It's very clear to me what we're doing with rapid rehousing and what we're doing with whole person care and that partnership, but on the shelter piece, I'm just a little bit behind on what our exact goal is and outcome. I've heard scatter model, I've heard churches, I've heard large sites with beds, and I'm not sure which path we're walking down and how we're going to achieve the outcome that you want. So I just want to better understand it.
May I just, and I don't want to do the detailer, but I think since the members of the public are here and you've raised a very appropriate question, I'd just like to give sort of a general overview. What happened here with these particular sites, we've been working on a number of sites. The Sacramento Bee, entrepreneurial, broke the story. It's fine. It's the way that it happens. We were intending, of course, to go on out to the community and obviously share this proposal and talk with the community. This has to come back to the City Council, both the winter triage site, because it will inevitably involve some or all city funding, still working on that, and certainly the permanent triage site and sites has to come back to the City Council for approval and city funding as well, hopefully in collaboration with other funding sources. The Florence site that I mentioned is not new. That was on the public report that Emily Halkin presented back in March when we had the homeless workshop. So over the last 7-8 months, we are looking for sites, period. And the key date now for all of us is this winter. This winter. Remember, last winter was one of the worst in memory. And undoubtedly, this winter is going to be bad. And so we want to get 300 triage beds up by December the 1st. That's our desire and goal, to get people out of the cold and to do what Councilmember Harris stated and what I talked about earlier, to actually begin integrating with this whole person care and get people off the street permanently. So we will be back on the winter piece sometime next month, or at the very latest early November, after a lot more community outreach and consultation, answering all those questions. In terms of the longer term, permanent triage, not only at the proposed Lumberjack site, but Florin and elsewhere, that will also bring all that back over the next several months, so that's not quite as urgent time-wise, because it's only the winter triage that we want to begin at the start of winter.
Well, let me just, that's partially helpful, and then I guess city manager, the part you could help him with, for me, and probably not from the dais, is the actual, like, what are the conditional use permits, and yeah, what are the funding exact, what are the funding pools you're looking at? I know we set some money aside to do this, and, I appreciate that we're looking at it in, September, because Mayor, we had to rush last time. I think it was just a matter of about 24 to 48 hours last year that we opened a space to try to get people out of the cold, and there was a big rush to raise the money to do it.
Well, we're ahead of the game here.
Right, so I understand what we're trying to do here. I just want to make sure I understand what's coming at us, and so that we are not only getting that information to the community, but that we understand too when it's right in front of us. So
Got it.
Better advocate.
I'm glad you raised it and provided a basic outline, but we'll come back with that. We better halt because we don't want to cross over with the Brown Act. Anyways, I look forward to coming out to the community with Councilmember Warren, Councilmember Harris, anyone else, and our city team to continue the discussion and answer all your questions. All right, thank you all very much, members of the public. Let's take council ideas and questions here before we adjourn. Are there any council ideas and questions? Councilmember Harris?
Yeah, Mayor, I have just a brief announcement. There will be a community workshop on cannabis tomorrow, Wednesday, September 27th, 6 p.m. at the South Natomas Community Center. And what this is about is to explain to my constituents what the cannabis industry is, how we are looking to regulate it, where it's likely to be located, and answer all of your questions about the burgeoning cannabis industry in Sacramento. It will be presented, I believe, by Joe Devlin, who is managing those operations for the city of Sacramento.
Thank you very much. Councilman Schneer?
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple of events. Want to say congratulations to Wellspring Women's Center. They're celebrating their 30th anniversary on Thursday, and that's at 5 to 7 p.m. at Wellspring. Colonial Heights Neighborhood Association has their monthly meeting at the Colonial Heights Library. That's also on Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. And then finally, on Monday night at 7 p.m., we'll be doing a safety meeting in Curtis Park, and that will be at SCNA at Sierra 2. For people who are interested in attending that, that's from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Police chief will be there and others. We'll talk about neighborhood watch and other measures that people should be just aware of to help make sure that they live in a safe neighborhood. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Councilman Guerra?
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of reminders of upcoming events and also neighborhood meetings. Again, for all the youth out there that are looking for a safe place to recreate, Friday nights, September 29th and October 6th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We have the George Sims Community Center open for the District 6 hotspots. Again, it's a safe place for youth to be out with good company. Also, the La Familia annual Sacramento Hispanic Latino Community Parade is on Sunday, October 8th, so mark your calendars now. And I know Councilmember Schneer here will be doing more information about that. We will have our Fire Station 60 open house and our office hours on October 14th at 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. On Julia Drive, for those of you know, over in the College Glen area. And neighborhood association meetings coming up. Monday, October 2nd is Tahoe Park. Nepenthe neighborhood is Wednesday, October 4th. Avondale Glen Elder is Wednesday, October 11th. And the College Glen Neighborhood Association meeting is October 12th, Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and that's all I have.
Okay, I have Vice Mayor Jennings up next and Councilmember Ashby.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mayor. If you have never seen the movie, The Secret Life of Pets, we're going to give you the opportunity to come out for movie night on October the 6th. That's Friday, October the 6th. The movie will start at dusk. We will give you free popcorn, free drinks, and best of all, you'll get a glow stick. So when it's in the dark, people will know where you are. So this is a wonderful opportunity at Mesa Grande Park, October the 6th, movie night, Secret Life of Pets.
All right, rated G.
Great movie.
Councilmember Ashby, I know you have an adjourn in memory, correct?
Yes, I do have an adjourn in memory. A couple of quick announcements. This weekend is the last weekend of the North Natomas Farmers Market. We had a great year. It was terrific. And the last weekend for Yoga in the Park. Yoga in the Park's at 9 a.m. on Saturdays in the regional park, and the Farmers Market is from 8 a.m. till noon in the same park. So if anybody wants to come out, this is our last chance until next spring when we open it up. Council Member Chenier and Mayor Steinberg, you all had the youth at City Hall present to us a couple months back, and one group of kids asked for my help. They wanted to come to my First Friday event and do an adoption event with the Front Street Animal Shelter. You may recognize those smiling faces. Those are the kids that stood in front of us here a couple months ago and asked us to do this event. And that is them actually doing it in the park at the First Friday event in North Natomas. So I wanted to report back to this group that these kids were very successful, did a great job. And this leads to my next issue, which is you see those cute pets there. I posted that picture that you just saw on Twitter or something social media-ish. And one of my friends named Danny Gatdula came out. You can put the other picture up. And Danny and his wife, Tonya, are very good friends of mine. They have 3 little boys. They are the 3 little boys with the biggest smiles on their faces in that picture, 13 and under. They are Anthony, Evan, and Ethan. For the last 2 years, Tonya, their mom, Danny's wife, has been battling cancer. At first, breast cancer, and she beat it. And then 2 months later was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And she spent all this year fighting that brain tumor. And so at the beginning of this month, when Danny saw me post that picture of the kids out with the pets, he came to First Friday and asked about the dogs, the puppies. Because on Danny and Tonya's bucket list was buy a home in Natomas Park as opposed to rent, which they had been doing for many years, and get a family dog. And Danny was trying to cross off the last 2 items on that bucket list as Tonya was placed on a hospice at home. This picture, for me, is what Sacramento is all about. Obviously, you can see the Kings there, but also in that picture are the owners of the Sac Republic, the goalkeeper for Sac Republic, 2 friends of the person who helps run our shelter that happen to have a Lamborghini. So they pulled up in the Lamborghini with the puppy. Bobby Mann, who helps run our shelter, who brought the puppy out. Those kids are all covered in Sacramento Kings swag, and they got to hang out with their favorite player, which is Dominic, the goalkeeper for Sac Republic, who played in their front yard. And they got a puppy from the Front Street Shelter with everything that you need to take care of a puppy. And this group played in the front yard for 2 hours, not only with that puppy, but with 4 other puppies that the shelter brought just for a puppy fun playtime. An hour after this picture was taken, Tonya took her last breath. And as you can see, Danny and his boys will remember this day always, and I think our city pulled around them and gave them an ability to say goodbye to their mom in a very positive way, knowing that they did not go through this journey, nor will they go through the next. alone. And I am very proud of that picture and everyone in it, and our city and our community, and what they have done for my friend Tonya, who in her 30s leaves behind 3 little boys, a husband, and a community that loved her very much.
We are very sorry, and that was beautifully said. That is what Sacramento is about. Thank you. If there's nothing further to come before the council, we're adjourned.